around, so we'll.
Let's go ahead and get started. If you would all stand with me. Jacob, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ryan, will you pray, please?
Most gracious God, we come today and we thank you for just a beautiful day. We thank you for this organization. God, we pray that you would guide us in our business with the things that we hear. Help us to continue to be to this community a light. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I don't see Nelson, so we're going to give Carter his first try at this.
All right.
Oh, man. So let's do Rotary, but let's change it up a little bit. Let's do a quick tempo Rotary. How's that sound? R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary. R-O-T-A-R-Y is known on land and sea. From north to south, from east to west, he profits most who serves the best. R-O-T-A-R-Y, that spells Rotary.
I like that. Yeah, that was good. All right, we have one birthday this week, and I don't see him here, but yesterday was Nelson's birthday, so if you see Nelson out, please tell him happy birthday. Johnny, are you ready?
Mouthful. Good to see a big crowd here today. A man goes into a bar thirsty. He sits down and waits for the bartender to see him. The man next to him called out to the bartender saying, "I'll have another Waterloo." The bartender gives him a tall, cold drink. The newcomer thought, well, you know, I'd like to try something different, so he said, "Hey, bartender, I'll have a Waterloo too." Bartender brought him a big, tall, cold drink. Took a sip and he said, "Bartender, there's something wrong with this drink." He said, "What?" He said, "This just tastes like water." The man next to him said, "Well, it is water, isn't it, Lou?" It takes a while. See,
Yeah.
he just kind of way. Who haven't I picked on? Who haven't I picked on? Our Rotary best friend. No, I think I did Ken. No, maybe I didn't do Ken. Did they assign you one? Good. Oh, yes, they did. Oh, they didn't. Madam President, we need to fix that.
We will. We're going to fix it in January. Everybody gets a new one.
Well, we need to shuffle that around. There's some not here in there.
Carter and I are working on that.
I lost my best friend, by the
I'm
way.
sorry.
You know, you knew that, didn't
It
you?
was the only one you had to do, wasn't
The
it?
Bajor. She's in Searcy working in a nursing home. I mean, she's running one now. She's not just the assistant. Saw her Saturday.
Brittany?
Yeah, Brittany.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Brittany's gone. Well, she's looking into the Rotary Club down there. That may be all the report I need to do today, is mine, because that makes it easy, doesn't it? Anyone else who's lost their best friend, I'll call on you next week.
We better hurry up and get Johnny a new one. We don't want him to be friendless.
No, because hey, listen, folks, since I'm Sergeant at Arms, if you don't want to be called on, volunteer to be my best friend.
Kurt, do you want to give a secretary's report?
I count 21 members today, so a little light after a good turnout last week. We have my wife Laura here, who I keep trying to talk into joining, so welcome. And I see, a guest and a speaker back there. Introduce yourself.
Oh, Randy?
Yep.
Alan Seal from WRDE.
All right. Welcome.
Well, Brenda and Deanna are both out today, so y'all are off the hook. But I will remind you that trash pickup is scheduled for October 25th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I believe. And I did notice that Saturday morning on my way out to a track shoot, I noticed that the county was out there cleaning part of it, so we may not have a whole lot to do. So it might go by rather quickly. Ken, do you have anything we need to discuss?
Nothing to discuss. I'll just give you a notice. The quarterly statements should be going out this week.
Okay, great. And we should get those by email?
I get them by email if
Okay.
everybody has them.
All right, so everybody be checking your inboxes for invoices sometime this week. Today's greeter was supposed to be Andy Brock, and he is a banker, so he's not here. Next week is Flav Carpenter. Just a couple quick reminders. Don't forget to keep bringing in candy for the Christmas parade. The district golf tournament was Friday afternoon. I think we had a pretty good turnout. Matt said they went ahead and played 9 holes before they got rained out.
Yeah, we actually got in 12, but I think they called it out.
But Mark had some amazing food, and Max drove a buggy around. It was kind of scary. I was worried to leave him, but he made it, him and Cassandra, and they didn't kill each other, so.
I tell you what, Max did a great job on the car. I'll just go ahead and commend him.
Good.
He came around right at the opportune time. We needed more beverages, so thank you.
SOS is going on.
Does anybody know anything about Jerry Rose? Can anybody give a report on Jerry?
Thank you, I was going to do that. Talked to Jerry, mouthful again, that's all right. Talked to Jerry just a few minutes ago on the phone. His recovery is going well. He's on a cane now, off the walker, but probably 3 more weeks. And he said he might want to come to Rotary next week, might want somebody to pick him up this coffee.
Okay.
So he's doing well, and also his wife Charlotte had some problems at the same time, but she's doing better also. So
That's real good to know. Remember to keep Jerry and Charlotte in your prayers. And then I have a notice from the Batesville Symphony League. They are going to be playing in Brown Chapel here at Lyon College on Sunday, November the 1st at 3 o'clock. Tickets for adults are $15 and senior citizens are $12. Students are $5, and a family ticket is $30. And they say it's an event you won't want to miss. So keep that in mind for November the 1st. I believe that, it is a Sunday afternoon at 3 o'clock. Matt, do you want to introduce your speaker? Sure.
Sorry, I had an announcement, sorry. Real quick, those of you who haven't answered a door to a Cub Scout or a Boy Scout yet, you may not know that right now this time of year their popcorn sales are going on, and my boys have twisted my arm to bring a popcorn form out, but you're welcome to look at it, and if there's anything on here or you want to help support the Scouts, you can, and get some popcorn in return.
when you buy it, will you deliver it to the club when it comes in?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes, we'll deliver it. I'll try to bring Chris and Kaden out as well.
Okay. Well, my speaker really doesn't need much introduction. My speaker is Coach King from Batesville High School. Coach King's here to talk to us a little bit about how the season's going, something about the kids and what's going on, and maybe he's predicting some things with Arkansas. Maybe he'll share those with you as well. So, Coach King.
Actually, more than predicting, Big Daddy Randy just shoot his mouth off back there a little bit. I had to shut him up. So, more than anything, that was what was going on there. I don't know if this joke will be, it's really not a joke, it's a true story. Not nearly as entertaining maybe as what John had there, but I got to thinking about what I was going to talk about today, and really didn't want to start with a joke, and I thought about something that happened to me in real time. It was funny later, it wasn't funny at the time. We started off 4-2 this year. We played Jonesboro and Searcy, two 6A schools, and took the lead on Jonesboro with about 2.5 minutes left. just under 2.5 minutes. Scored a touchdown, went up 29-28. We have a young man that kicks for us, Ricardo Thoreau. He's from Guatemala. And Ricardo doesn't speak English very well, so we have a hard time communicating. I used to think I was a great communicator with kids. I should have learned to speak Spanish a long time ago because we don't always communicate well. I do a lot of hand signals and gyrations, and he doesn't always understand. Jonesboro had a young man, Jonathan Adams Jr., who his dad was a big-time player at Osceola, played at ASU, real good running back. And needless to say, this young man's already been offered about 71 scholarships. He's just a junior. He wears number 1, and that's significant for this reason. We break our kickoff up like a phone. 1, 2, 3 are deep kicks, 4, 5, 6 are middle kicks, and onside 7, 8, 9, and we call it from the sideline. And I went to Coach Stroud as soon as we scored. I said, irregardless of what you do not kick a 1. Do not kick the number 1. Do not kick the Jonathan. Do not. That's what I said. Do not kick the number 1. So he went over and told him, we're not kicking a 1. He nodded his head. He understood. Not kicking a 1. That would be deep left. Well, where did Jonathan Adams Jr. line up? He lined up at 3. So where did we kick it? We kicked at 3. He ran back to our 28-yard line, and we wound up getting beat with 30 seconds left in the ball game. So that leads me to this story. Communication, you sometimes think you could be a good communicator with high school kids, and I've always thought I was, but we were one time long ago, I coached a place called Garrison, Texas. And we were playing a district championship game, the 9th game of the year against Tatum. Tatum had 4 young men and went on to play D1 college football. 3 of them played in the NFL. And one of them was a guy named Larry Centers. If you Google Larry Centers, you'll see, I think he got passed. He's the second all-time leading receiver for running backs in the NFL. We had a young man that was trying to guard him. His name was Vincent Woodard, and Vincent was a great kid, just wasn't the sharpest knife in the drawer. And right before the half, we had just taken the lead, much like that Jonesboro game. And the defensive coordinator came up and said, Coach, what do you want to do? I said, whatever you do, get him off of Centers. They're going to take him deep. So we look out there, and there's Vincent. Centers about right here where David's at. He crawls up about 5 yards right in his grill right here. Now, this young man runs about a 4.7 40, which is not speedy. Centers is a 4.4. He's being recruited by every D1 school in the nation. Everybody in Texas already offered him. He crawls right up in his grill. Well, what do they do? First play, they do a little flash and pass right over the top to him. The only reason they don't score, now there's about 45 seconds left in the first half. He runs right by Vince. Vince is chasing, they throw it, overthrow him. Ball hits the ground back. I'm going out of my mind. There's like 8,000 people in the stands. I'm just going crazy. I'm ready to pull the Stu Smith, throw my hat. I'm jumping around and saying, Coach, get him off of it. Loosen him up, loosen him up. Well, the coach is trying to talk to Vince, and Vince is looking at us, and he backs up maybe a yard farther. Well, they do the next thing. They throw Larry Centers again. He's open again now with throwing. It's a true story. I'm out of my mind. I'm out to the numbers. I want to call timeout. I don't have any timeouts. And finally, I just jumped out there, and I guess the veins were sticking out my neck, and I screamed at him. I said, Vincent, loosen up! Get off him, loosen up! He looks at me, and you can tell he's tired, he starts. I turned and I just walked over there. Fortunately, they ran a draw play to Larry Horton, who was all Southwest Conference at Texas A&M. He went up 30 yards, we tackled him. Went into halftime. My blood pressure was probably about 240 over 110. And I just went up and explained to the secondary coach. Next time it happened, he was fired on the spot. So sometimes you think you're a good communicator and you're not. And it's really important with kids to be a good communicator. We got great kids in Batesville. I've said that since I came here 20 years ago. It's fun to coach them because they're very smart. You can do a lot of things on offense, do a lot of things on defense. I always go through the staff. I've had the same staff for a long time. That's one reason I think we've been successful. Stu Smith. Normally Stu comes with me. Of course, you guys know Stu. He loves to talk. He loves to come to things like this. He said to tell y'all hi. Stu had the defense down at the field house at lunch, feeding them pizza and going over the game plan. Kevin Miller, who's my old college roommate from baseball days. His offensive coordinator, Gary Rhodes. Offensive line, Tim Howard, a Batesville grad, is the defensive line. T.J. Stroud is a secondary coach and helps with especially. Patrick Smith, who was an all-state player for us in 2003. The year we won state as a running back and special teams coach. And Patrick Grove coached the outside linebackers. One reason I think we have great success, we got great coaches, but more than that, they're really great people. As I said, we're currently 4-2. We got beat in a very close game to Searcy and Jonesboro. I do think those early games teach you a lot about your team. You play somebody a little weaker. Sometimes you don't see those things that you need to work on, and playing those people. I think Jonesboro, we have yet to beat them in 4 tries, but we've played them very close every time and had opportunity to win. I think that really does a lot for our kids in terms of showing them where we need to go. One neat thing about the Jonesboro game next year, that's going to be played the opening date at ASU. We worked out a deal with them, moved around. We're going to play Jonesboro at ASU, Searcy at home, and then Mountain Home at home. All 3 6A schools in that 6A conference, but that Jonesboro game will be at ASU both years, and we're going to split the gate with them. So it'll be a pretty neat deal for our kids to get to play on a college campus. They've really done a lot of things to ASU to make it a lot nicer venue, I think, for not only high school, but obviously in college. We are 3-0 in conference. We beat Nettleton 31-10. We beat Paragould 45-0, and beat Friday night, beat a very good 4-city team 41-10. Kids played really, really well. We've got 17 seniors and 75 kids currently on the roster for the high school Pioneers. And I'm just going to go down here and tell a little bit about each position real briefly. Offensively, we're led by 6'2", 205 junior Zach Griffin, and Zach has really done a great job at this point. I think he's got a chance to be one of our really, really good quarterbacks we've ever had. Runs the ball very well, does a great job throwing the ball on the run, and just his upside is very, very high. And as I said, he's very quick, about a 4'6", maybe sub 4'6", and he gives us a chance at the quarterback position to be pretty good every Friday night. The tailback senior, Louis Saunier. Louis right now is our leading ball carrier, not very big, but very, very tough. I think he's went over 100 yards for the last 5 games. Done a great job running the ball. Colin Robinson, who's a junior, and Trey Ford, who's a sophomore. We kind of just rotate there at the tailback position because 2 of those youngsters play defense for us. Fullback position, Joel Parker, a junior, and Seth Hickson, a senior. We just kind of interchange them. I let them come and go as they want, as they get tired. They rotate about every 2 plays. Both of them have done a great job, very tough at the fullback position. We throw the ball a lot out of the backfield, so both those young men have really good hands. Wide receivers, we have a bunch of kids that have done a great job for us, but one that I'm really, really excited about, Demetrius Holiday. You need to remember that name because he's pretty sharp in the classroom. He's about 6'3", runs about a 4'6". He's only a 10th grader. He's going to have a chance to be recruited as we get down the road with him. Preston Thompson and Nate Robin, 2 seniors, and Cole Duncan, a junior, also round out our receiving corps. All these youngsters have done a great job catching the football early in the season. Offensive line, we've got probably the strength of the offense. We've got 4 guys returning. Strong guard, strong tackle, our 2 juniors, Peyton Toby and Cody Garner. Even though they're just juniors, they both started every game last year. And tight end Dylan James, Dylan has already been offered 2 D1 scholarships. Dylan went to a lot of camps this last summer. He's 6'6", 255, runs a 4.82. He definitely, as Coach Miller says, passed the eye test. He's already been offered 2 D1 scholarships, and hopefully he'll have some others coming down the pipe. Quick tackle, Colin Emery. And Colin has had a real tough go the last 9 months. He, after off-season one day, was outside throwing a baseball and jumped up, came down crooked on his ankle, broke it, and had to have a rod inserted. And then in the summer, was having trouble with his calf, and they took him in, did a CAT scan, had a tumor in his calf, which he had to operate on right before 2-a-days, Little Rock. So he's had a tough go. He missed the first 3 games. He's come back, really doing a good job just now rounding in shape, so he's going to help us a bunch as he gets in better and better shape. And rounding out the offensive line, Josh Napperstick and Austin Johnson are at quick guard and center, both of them seniors. And the last 2 or 3 games, our offensive line's really come into play. Done a great job, and I think that's going to be something that we can hang our hat on as the year goes on. Defensively, our front is definitely our strength. Friday night, we held 4 city to 10-yard rushes, 10 rushing yards on 19 carries, which for you guys that follow football is a pretty good total. We've got 3 guys returning up front, makes it probably as good as any 3 guys we've had since I've been here 20 years. Wendell Williams, who's a senior, is 1 defensive tackle. Sean Stout, another senior at defensive end. And our other defense is Blake Franks, who's about 6'4", about 215, and probably going to be about 250 before he graduates. Another young man who we think he's a pretty good student, who's going to have a chance to be recruited, at least by D2. And along with those youngsters, Christian Bullock, sophomore, is our nose tackle, and he's done some really good things at this point. Both of our linebackers are starters back from last year, one of them on offense and one of them on defense. Garrett Bernard, who did not start out starting last year, but came on after the 4th game and started every game after that, all the way to the playoffs. He's a junior. And Sam Stalker, who's my starting fullback, last year we moved him to defense to really shore up the defense. He's a senior. Outside linebackers are Elliott Milligan, who's a junior, and Trey Ford, who's a sophomore. Trey being one of those young men that also run the ball for us at tailback. Secondary, we have one returner, and that's Chris Robinson, who also plays wide receiver for us some. The only thing Chris lacks is a little speed. He's a great cornerback, made some great plays Friday night. The other corner is Jacob Skaggs. That's the little brother of Sam Skaggs, one of our better players last year. And unfortunately, Jacob, the opening kickoff Friday night, knocked his shoulder down. And we're kind of afraid he's going to be out this week. Doc had to reduce it on the sideline, and probably a chance he will not be playing this Friday. But he's done a great job, made some huge plays for us. Free safety is Demetrius Holiday, some young man I talked about at wide receiver. His upside is, there's really no limit on his upside. He's got great skills and got a great attitude, really enjoys the game. The defense to this point has held the 3 5A East opponents to 7 points per game. I think we've given up 22 points in 3 games. And we are currently averaging 39 points a game, so we're starting to round into shape as we get into the conference. Special teams, our kicker, that young man I talked about, Ricardo Thoreau, and other than the fact he doesn't speak real good English, and he grins at me a lot when I try and talk to him. He's a great young man, and he is leading the state right now with 7 field goals. I think second is 4. He's made 7 of 8, got a great leg, and after Osvaldo Esparquerta, I never thought we'd have anybody work close. He's not quite as good as Oz, but he's done a great job. He's 19 of 19 on extra points and 7 of 8 on field goals with, I think his long is 42 yards. Holder is Zach Fredericks, who also is our backup quarterback. He's a junior. Punting has been kind of like this wheel up here. We just kind of the punter of the week because we really don't have a real good punter. We lost Ken Crawford last year, who had punted for us for 3 years. We've got one in each class. I told him, I said, if we're going to be bad, let's at least have one in each class so we can kind of maybe throw a dart. And I say bad, they're great kids. Our punting form is just not always the best. But Trey Ford has done the most punting. He's a sophomore, got a great leg. Cole Duncan, who just started punting, kind of on accident. I just saw him punt a couple down there one day, and he's hit some spirals, and I went over and said, we're going to put him in the mix because we couldn't get his spirals. And Sam Stalker, who kind of shows you our punting, how our puntings went this year in the Nelton game. Sam punted twice. He punted one for 64 yards and punted one for 7 yards. So that kind of tells you where our punt game has been. Now again, these kids are great kids, and Sam is a great fullback linebacker for us. We don't play much on fullback now, but he's as tough a kid as we have out there. But to this point, punting has just not been one of our big things. We may start being like PA and start going for it on 4th down. I don't know. Punt returning for the Pioneers, we got Colby McDaniel, who is as fearless as any young man I've coached in 35 years. I mean, he is just told he's about $145, and he has absolutely no fear whatsoever. I mean, he will catch the ball in a dead run, and that's what you want from a punt returner, somebody who's fearless. He also plays a little outside linebacker and safety for us on defense. The kick returner is Colin Robinson and Louis Sonia, our 2 tailbacks. It was really big Friday night because we kicked off to them. They drove down and scored on us first. Went for 2 and we stopped them. So, you know, it's kind of raining over at Forest City. And Forest City, if you've ever been there, is anybody here from Forest City? Okay. If you've ever been to Forest City, it's kind of depressing in itself. So it's raining and it's dark and, you know, it's a damp field, it's a grass field. And they just scored on us, and the guy, you kind of look around. And boy, the kickoff team, Coach Smith, had him jumping around, Patrick Smith, and I said, man, we'll get a nice return here. They kick off deep to Colin Robinson. He takes it right up the middle, breaks outside. 88 yards later, and we kick it, it's 7-6 us. So it's great to have kids like that that can return the kickoff after we go down in a big game like that. This Friday night, last time I talked about, this Friday night's a huge game, and you know, Wynn, our kids get up to play with. I mean, I remember when I came here, Wynn was kind of the big dog, not only this conference, but in the state 5A football, and we used to always talk about, I remember the days when Coach Smith and I used to stay up there till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, Friday, Saturdays and Sundays, trying to get ready for them. We never could beat them initially, but I didn't realize too much later, it might have been because one team they had 5 different kids on it. But now the Pioneers have got good enough that we've kind of flipped the table. We beat them 5 of the last 6 years. And in the last 6 years, the winner of this game has won the 5A East District Championship. I'm talking about of all 6 years. And 4 of those years, whoever won it went on to play for a state championship. So obviously, to say it's a big game is a gross understatement. It's a huge game. We've won it for the last 5 years, and we've won the district title for the last 5 years. And you know, this is something I told our kids. I didn't talk about at the start of the year, but I did talk about Saturday. The kids we have this year that are seniors have a chance to be the first class in the history of Batesville, Arkansas, to win 3 back-to-back-to-back district titles, to do a 3. So that's a pretty neat deal for those kids. We've got 17 of them, and they're really excited about the opportunity to do that. This Friday night is homecoming, so if any of you guys are a Batesville grad, I want to invite you out. There'll be 3 really neat things Friday night. There'll be a great game, Win. I mean, I promise you, it'll be a great game. They've got a good team, we've got a good team. It's going to be good high school football. There'll be fireworks on and off the field, and there'll be a lot of good friends and former classmates that you'll be able to see at the game. So if you get a chance, come out, watch the game. If not, it'll be on the radio, but I think it'll be a very interesting and very entertaining game. And you know, I appreciate the opportunity to come out today. I kind of feel bad when you said it was a light crowd. I figured it's probably me. Kind of getting in complex today before I go to practice, but I do appreciate the opportunity to come and visit today. And I don't really know. I was going to go into the team a little bit more, but being as we're already halfway through the season, I didn't know if I might just open up if anybody had any questions about the team or anything we're doing now or in the future, or anything to do with Friday's game, or just anything to do with how many games Arkansas will win the next 6 games, or anything. More than anything, I want to say this. Randy was just being a little negative about the Hogs, and being a coach myself, I kind of had to stand up for Coach Feedback. Yes, sir.
What about your kids that are coming up to fill the gap once the senior gets on, your sophomore, your freshmen now that'll be sophomores next year?
The freshmen now, they've had 2 good wins in district. I think we're 3-3. They're having a pretty good year. Not quite as strong. The last 2 classes we've had, they're coming out of junior high, both been 10-0. The group that is now sophomores were 10-0 in junior high, and the group we had that were juniors were 10-0. And back-to-back, our junior and sophomore class are the 2 best classes we've had in the 20 years I've been in Batesville. And that doesn't mean, I mean, it remains to be seen how well we'll do, but those back-to-back talent-wise, I hate to say that because it kind of sounds like we ought to win every game. But, you know, we've got some really, really, really talented kids in that junior and sophomore class. The 9th graders are coming up, I think next year is sophomores. Not only will be a real talented group, but we're going to have over 100 kids playing football. Because we lose 17 and we're going to gain about 40. So there's a very good chance I'm going to have to ask the AD for some more equipment.
TV schedule this week?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, don't broadcast this, but, you know, we quit doing the home games on TV at one time because, you know, it's hurting the crowd. And then this year, they actually did the first one, and I said, well, you know, we have this crowd, let's go ahead and just let it go, so.
What about the TV stations? Do they plan on covering this?
Yeah, the one, I think the one at Jonesboro is gonna be over here, the news station, yeah, they'll be over here. And they have already called, they'll be over tomorrow for practice, so I'm sure. It's a pretty big game, to say the least, and I'm sure that the one out of Jonesboro will be over here.
What's Win for?
Win is 3-3. They started out 0-3, but it's kind of like our record. They played PA with one state last year. Played them very close. Matter of fact, they led them 21-7 at the half and got beat 28-21. Then they played Marion the first game and got beat 20-19, and played was it West Memphis? I want to think. I think West Memphis beat them 27-21. So they lost 3 very close games. One thing he's done which I admire, but I really don't understand. He's had great success at running spread. They went to the flex ball, much like Coach Hatfield ran when he was at Arkansas, and Rice runs Army. Most of your the military academies run, which is a real disciplined, hard-nosed. If you're not disciplined on defense, it's very hard to contend with. And, I kind of hate it because he's kind of figured out what I've been thinking for a lot of years. Since all these spread teams come in high school, everybody wants to play 7-on-7. And quite honestly, when Dylan Daniels and Peyton Tovey line up and double team that 5 technique, they haven't seen anything like that. And our number one play is an off-tackle play, just 35 or 36 power. And when we run that, a lot of these teams, they like to throw the ball around, work 7-on-7, but boy, that good old double team, there's nothing like it. And he's kind of figured out what we've been talking for a long time. We don't do 7-on-7. We don't do team camps in the summer. But part of that is I don't want our kids going over and seeing all the kids that medaled in them and all getting, they may see Chris Robinson and see what a nice kid he is and realize he's only 4'8", and they might know some things that they don't need to know about us. But we don't do that. And I think Chris has kind of figured out the same thing. So they're gonna be in a flexible offense and coming right at you. So it'll be a very hard-nosed game. Yes, sir.
How many of your men are now playing for Atlanta College?
Well, we had a few that went up there that did not make it to the first game. Jonathan Hendricks plays tight end. Garrett Denton is also tight end. Kong Nguyen plays left guard. Osvaldo Especueta is the kicker. Riley Caraway is a holder and plays wide receiver. John Howard is the center. So, am I close? 6. We had 2 of them that went up there that did not, for whatever reason, did not wind up staying up there along with 6. 5 of them, I think, are playing quite a bit. And let me say this about Lyon College, playing football. I get asked all the time. I get asked for the season, and you always want to be honest, but not. Everybody's got to understand they're doing things right, and they're going to have a good program because they're well organized. They're doing it. Kirk Kelly's a great man, and he's going to do things right. The kids are going to respond to him, but it would be Lyon College playing a college schedule would be like our 9th graders playing our varsity kids in high school. People don't understand it. They always say, well, we got college. We're going to coach. Somebody had they come up to me and walk. What's wrong with Lyon, coach? I just, you don't want to be negative or say something like you're crazy, but if our 9th graders had to come up and scrimmage our high school kids, we'd run up and down the field and they wouldn't make a yard. And I'm not saying that's what's happening line, but you're talking about redshirt freshmen and freshmen playing juniors, seniors, and redshirt seniors. And, if you really think about that, well, that's tough. And before the season started, I told Coach, I said, if they win 2 games, they need to put a monument up for Kirk Kelly on campus because I've never heard anybody starting a program and winning any games. So they're starting from scratch, and everything I've seen, well, they're doing a great job. The organization's great. The kids seem to be, really responding. I think it's going to take some time because they started from ground zero, and I know the kids that we sent up there that you asked about, those kids are all quality kids, and they're really good football players. Osvaldo Especueta, I'm going to tell you, I had D1 schools from everywhere calling me about it, and I just didn't want to leave Batesville. That's the bottom line. I told Kurt, I said, that's the greatest recruit. I mean, I don't know if you coach here 30 years, that may be the greatest recruit you ever get. Because Oz he's the best kicker I've had in 35 years of coaching. I mean, just unbelievable. I've never heard of it. He had 4 field goals at 50 yards in high school. Who does that? I've never heard of that. So for them to get him, I mean, they're going to do some great things. I just think it's going to take time. Everybody in Batesville's going to be understand that and really support the program. I think if they do, I think they're going to do some great things. And it's exciting. And I'll never forget sitting over there on that side in that home crowd that first game when we scored. That young man broke. I wish I had that on video. That'd be the best recruiting tool the line would ever have. That was awesome. And I just think it's going to be a great deal for the community, for the school, and for everybody involved. So, anybody else got any more questions?
Looking down the road after the win, who's probably going to be your toughest challenge?
Blytheville is very good. Blytheville has a young man named Derek Smith, who's an all-state lineman, 2-year all-state lineman for us, 8 or 9 years ago. And Derek, as Coach P. Smith said, Derek has drank the Kool-Aid, and he knows what it takes to have a high school program. And places, Blytheville and Forest City, they've got great athletes, but they can't hardly get a good offensive and defensive line. And Derek has got over there and got a bunch of kids and really taken them under his wing, got them excited about playing offensive line, which they never do. So as we say, he's drank the Kool-Aid. He knows what the key is for them to win, and they're having a great year. They almost beat Williams 28-21. And they were driving the ball 21-20 win. About 6 minutes left, and the young man came in motion. They snapped the ball off of him, and Wynn got the ball and was able to go down and score, and that was the ball game. But Blytheville will be very tough as well after. Anybody else got anything else? I wish I had a good joke to close on, but I'll just leave them with the water drink. Thank y'all.
I'm really sad, Coach King. You just kind of ruined my day.
Sorry.
Talking about you've been here 20 years. I was a senior in high school when you started. So I'm feeling really old now.
You're now, what, 29?
Yeah, I started school when I was an infant. Coach King, we started a literacy project. We're donating books to the library. So we're going to donate a book to the library for you that says Tommy Sawyer's Regs. And inside it says, this book is donated on behalf of Coach Dave King with Batesville High School for speaking to the Rotary Club of Batesville on October 12, 2015. So that will be at the library. Also, on another note for Batesville High School, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but this weekend, the marching band won some pretty major awards. I think they got first place in 4A or 5A. Down at War Memorial Stadium, so they are really, really pumped up. They did some good things, and I'm sure they'll have a nice show probably Friday night since it's homecoming.
The band is excellent, and I think they won 3 or 4 awards down there.
Yes, yeah. The color guard won first place and some other stuff. So I'm really proud. My nephew is in the band, so I get excited for him. Penny, did Penny leave already?
She had to leave.
Okay, let's see. Holly, you want to draw a ticket for us? Okay, Joker Doll is up to $473, so that's a 236 split. Today's winner is 560430.
Dang.
I got it.
Yeah, you had.
Wait a minute, fill that table.
I know, it's up to that back table.
She doesn't draw a joke, what she gets.
Looking for the Joker.
Holy cow.
Aww.
There it is.
Okay. We'll continue on for next week. Now, I promise it's in here. I did find it. Okay, so, it really is in here. Okay, let me see if I can find it real fast. There it is. See, it is in there. I do promise.
Let me see that for just a second.
No. Does anybody else have anything today for the good of the club? Okay, if we don't, let's close as we always do with the 4A test of the things we think, say, and do. Number 1. This is true. Number 2.
This is fair.